impressive string of Alice's. Here's a 210, looks like a 210, and been restored, and a 220 that has not been restored. 210 that has been restored. That is a beautiful tractor, very nice restoration. I don't speak a whole lot of Alice. Each of my grandfathers happened to have a WD-45 that I run some, but that's about it. The 220, 185, that's a 1976 model, it says. So we're getting well into the 70s already. And I guess we'll do a walk around by some Alice Chalmers and some golf carts. There's a 220, a 1870 model. So I think 69 was the last year for the D21. Here's a 220. Another 220. That's gorgeous. Front wheel assist. And WD. And another 220. I'm going to have to stop and take a picture of this 220. It's a gorgeous example. And I guess we'll carry on with the Alice string. Here we got an Alice Tug. 1960 D17. Very nice D21, a 1967 model. So that was a Series 2 turbocharged diesel. A WD, Alice WD, which was the predecessor to the WD-45. This is a 1951 model. And an Alice B. I think everybody had a B of some sort. International made a B, Alice made a B, John Deere made a B. Here's a Series 4 Alice D17. And I guess we'll just kind of crank around here. Have another look at the Alice's. A CA, a neighbor of ours had one of those, a D12. Really nice WD. The two bottom plow behind it. Here's a 57 WD-45. Yeah, that was about 53, 54 right in there, mid-50s. They came out with a WD-45. There's a 59 D10 and a D17. Now I'm getting around the bend here where the light's not the greatest angle for me, so I'm just about to the end of the Alice's anyhow. There's a 53 WD-45, so maybe that would have been about the first year. Alvin and Marge Bogner from Bloomville, Ohio. Here's an H3 Alice Crawler and a Series 3 Alice D17. And that will be the last we see of the Alice's for a while, maybe. Nope, no, I just saw some more over there. There's a beautiful pair of D21s. It's a Series 2. God, that is just gorgeous. That is beautiful. And another one, Bergson Farms, Ransom, Illinois. I've seen that name on a lot of tractors. And some more 220s and 210s. And here they've even got a couple of the newer Alice's. Here's an Alice 7000, a little B with tracks on it, and an Alice 7030. So I think we're talking 80s. Not for sure. Don't see any signage on these, but beautiful tractors in any event. Well, as one might imagine, there's hordes of John Deere's here. Here's a 720 diesel, which would be probably the late mid-50s, I'd say, because they followed that with the 30 series after the 20 series. Still an extremely popular tractor, very good tractor. One of, I think, maybe the only original intact American tractor building company. Everybody else has been bought out, merged, what have you. So we're just going to take a sweep through here, see how many golf carts try to run me over. 40-20 diesel. So that would have been mid-60s. 730, that would have been the late 50s. This is a 1960 model. Here's a 530. 420 looks pretty nice. I speak a bit of John Deere. I spent some time on a grandfather's 50 John Deere and worked for some brothers when I was young that One of the boys had a 3010 diesel that I spent a lot of time on. Here's a little John Deere B. I actually spent some time on one of those. My stepdad had one. And here's an A with a cab on it, which was incredibly, just never saw that. Here's a 1935B, and this is what they called the unstyled. It wasn't until the late 30s that they actually started putting all the pretty sheet metal around all these tractors. So here's a 51A with a heart transplant. It's got a V8 in it. 730 diesel. Here's a little H. My mother's father, my Grandpa Goodrich, had one of these. A little H. I drove it, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles from town back to his place one day, and I think it took most of the afternoon because I swear to God, it wouldn't go much faster than walking speed. Here's a 530, it's a 1959 model. And here's another 720, which, as I mentioned, was the 20 series, is the predecessor to the 30 series. And here's a 630, a 1959 model. That one's had lots of TLC. And here is a 4820, so this would have been, I believe, well into the 70s. Yeah, it says 76 model. So here's a reader board saying how they'd, a lot of guys put out a lot of information on their tractors to show how they restored it, the restoration process. Let me get by these folks here. And okay, the 4010 diesel. So the 4030 I drove was the size down. There's a little 40 John Deere. That would have been a mid-50s, 55, 56. And here's a 50, which I mentioned earlier. My grandfather had one. It was a narrow front, his was, so it was quite the nice little tractor, though. For a 9-year-old, whatever I was. Here's just a gorgeous 49G. And I can remember, well, this has got the fenders on it. I can remember when the G was the big dog in the township. The Blazo family had, I don't know, they had 40 or 50 strange John Deere's. High clearance tractors, high crops. Here's a B, big brother A, even bigger brother G. So these tractors would have been started production probably in the late 30s. And here's a 730, high clearance, all high clearance tractors, which make these all pretty darn rare. And I guess, who owns them? One of 6 built this 730 is Marvin Finfrock III, Wapella, Illinois, restored by Ford Baldwin. But as you can see, he's got a beautiful collection. Just amazing. Even I have to admire this. And I'm a die-hard red guy. Well, I can't forget about my nephew-in-law. He has now become an Oliver fan. So here's a 1966 Oliver 1950. It's got a GM diesel in it, which is just noisy. And there's a pretty good representation of the Olivers here. Here's a 63 1600. Here's a 1555 diesel. Here's a 1750 diesel. It's a 68 model. And here's a little 1961 Oliver 550, utility obviously. Here's an Oliver crawler. A little 60 row crop. Always a sleek looking tractor. They always had the enclosed engine bay. And a beautiful 62 Oliver 1800. Really nice tractor. But there's quite a few Oliver displays here. Tractors, combines, implements. Really is nice. And over here is the Oliver contingent. Got their own canopy set up, tent, so. And on we go. And here we have a really nice string of Minneapolis-Molines. As you can see, they've got quite an impressive display up here as well. A lot of die-hard Minneapolis folks still around. Here's a UB a G708 front wheel assist. 1965 model, it says. Here's a white Minneapolis-Moline. White Corporation took over Minneapolis sometime in the 70s, I think it was. And a 670 LP gas. And in 1958, a 5-star diesel. Here's another UB. Let's see if I find a date on it here. Doesn't have a year on it. But looks to be a pretty good sized tractor. And we'll skip around some tourists here. Have a look at this U, which is a propane. Model U propane. And some more minis. This one says it's a 1943 NT clone. So, not sure exactly what that means. This says 19 question mark Minneapolis-Moline experimental tractor, the Leroy's Book family, Morrison, Illinois. Huh. Okay. And a U.S. Army stencil on this Minneapolis-Moline. Looks like it's a magnet that they used to, a giant magnet that they would run across runways or any area where they wanted to make sure there was no stray metal. And here's the Heritage iron display. We got a nice Hydro 650 Rolls-Royce engine. 1649 cubic inch V12. Quite the beast. Quite the beast. Got some nice framework there. You can see the frame's been rerouted a bit to get that bad boy in there. It's quite the machine though. Quite the machine. Well, we're getting lined up. There's the beginning down there, Max Armstrong's tractor. So we're about the halfway point of the runway, so we got quite a ways to go, but this is the tractor parade at the half century of progress, Rantoul, Illinois, the old Chanute Air Force Base. There's my buddy T-Bone, Lowell Lindsay, his 54 Super MTA, and I'm going to be driving the 49 Farmall. And the string just goes about as far as you can see. Tractors end to end.
And we have Miss Jolene Brown on there. She should be ready for her afternoon session at 2:30. What do you think? After stuff like this back. I don't think she's going to be ready for a couple of days yet, as a matter of fact. Look at Jolene.
They're confused already.
Boy, what was that? The ice chest? If your boy from Alabama loses that, that's critical. Whatever that fluid is, it's leaking out of there. The Bodine boys did a great job in hosting the Red Power Roundup down in Alabama a year ago this past summer. We got to look at a lot of great.
Well, here we are in the parade. I'm on the 49M. The engine's running pretty smooth right now. Huge crowd of people. Just amazing. Just amazing. And we're been down the runway, about halfway down the runway, and we're turning onto the cross runway. And fortunately, the sun is coming around behind us, so what's amazing is all the spectators here. Just incredible. Just incredible. You wouldn't think that there'd be that many people out here. So many carts, so many buggies. But it's gorgeous, that's for sure. You can see the cornfields back there. You can see the large tractor over there to the left, working some ground. Just crazy. Just crazy. That's where we started off, over there by the flag. So you can see, we've come a ways. It's a long runway. I guess we're going to end up over there. kid riding the fenders. I'd watch those treads go round and round and round. Well, we're done from the parade and we're watching, I don't know if it's the last few tractors or what, but we're still streaming. It's been going on for well over an hour now. Not sure who's driving it, but that's Richard Walker's tractor. I don't think that's Richard. Beautiful setup though. Maybe tomorrow I'll get to watch more of the parade. Sounds like it's got a GM diesel in it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are later Friday afternoon, coming up on 4 o'clock, and we're at the tractor pulls, obviously. We're just getting started, so we'll see how the evening goes. Beautiful.
They've got it down trackside, and well, the screen's a little worse to wear out.
It's about to run out.
Here's the fluff, Bobby. We don't want to have to hand.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
The big
All your wife's been here, friend of mine.
when the forward goes, he sees the sound of the big air.
And he said, cars above. You watch the antiques pull out.
247.02.
1.9 miles an hour.
Take a long time to get across.
Illinois stock was in a class, and then we're going to go into high school power stock.
Cabotes right down here. And the tower's going through the coast.
About the 2020 10% over others.
That eats his own tractor. That's what I was just wondering.
If nothing else, lots of dust.
Stop here, 60-30.
Ooh. Oh my God.
Row ring.
One 2-minute gulp.
Yeah. Ooh. Pop didn't work great.
Why was the crap?
300 foot on the well, 300 feet, 0.05. 300.05 feet.